Okay, let's talk about the quadratic formula. It's exciting. This is really important. This is a really useful formula. So up till now, we've been solving quadratic equations. We've been solving equations that are degree 2 by factoring. So we factor the equation, and then you can set each factor equal to 0 and solve. We've done that. But some quadratic equations don't factor, right? We have prime quadratic equations. We still need a way to solve those because there are solutions that exist. We just can't find them by factoring. And in those cases, and really any quadratic equation can be solved with the quadratic formula. And once you get used to it, it can be a lot faster than factoring. So this is what the formula looks like. It looks kind of complicated at first, but once you understand where all the numbers come from, it's actually pretty simple. So it's x equals negative b plus and minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That's your formula. So the steps here, what to do or how to use this. First, you got to put your equation into standard form. ax squared plus bx plus c. So you need to make sure your highest degree term, your degree 2 term is first, and then degree 1, and then degree 0. And then you're going to take your a, b, and c values from the equation and put them into the quadratic formula, in for b and a and c and all that, those 3 spots. And then we solve it to find the values for x. So once you get the numbers in there, it's actually not too bad. Let's do the first example just to see how this works. So we got x squared minus 2x minus 3. Our a value is 1. It's that leading coefficient. B is negative 2. And C is negative 3. They just go in order once it's in standard form. And then we just plug them into the formula. So x equals negative b, so the opposite of b, b is negative 2, so negative b is positive 2, plus and minus the square root, b squared, negative 2 squared is positive 4, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 3. All over 2a, 2 times a here, a is 1, so that's 2. So there's our formula. We've plugged in b, or actually negative b, and then b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. From here, all we have to do is solve the equation. We just evaluate the numbers, how they look. So x equals 2 plus and minus. Let's do the square root first. So 4 times 1 is 4, times negative 3 is negative 12. So 4 minus negative 12, that's just 4 plus 12, all over 2. So we get x equals 2 plus and minus the square root of 16 over 2. And we know what the square root of 16 is. That's 4. So 2 plus and minus 4 over 2. Now to find the actual answers, we have to do both of those operations. We have to do 2 plus 4 divided by 2 and 2 minus 4 divided by 2. Right, so we have to do 2 plus 4, which is 6 over 2. That's 3. And then 2 minus 4, which is negative 2, over 2, that's negative 1. There are your 2 answers. So just a reminder there, we have to do 2 plus 4 over 2 and 2 minus 4 over 2 to get those 2 numbers. But not too bad. Ends up with 3, negative 1. And if you look at the equation, if you think about how we factor, you would have ended up there. And maybe this equation would have been faster just to factor, but you'll see that in most cases, factoring is not an option. So it's good to practice with the easy examples at first. Okay, example B, we have to get this into standard form first. We're going to add 10v to both sides, and we're going to add 7 to both sides. All right, so we got 3v squared plus 16v plus 5 equals 0. Now that's in standard form. Let's pick out our a, b, and c values so we can get them into the formula. So v equals, and it's just replacing x for v. It works the same way. The opposite of b, which is negative 16, plus and minus the square root b squared. All right, so 16 squared. Just use your calculator if you don't know it off the top of your head. 256 minus 4 times a, which is 3, times c, which is 5. All over 2a, that's 6. Okay, kind of a lot to do there. Let's figure out the square root. So, let me get that a little closer. 256 minus 4 times 3 times 5. Well, 4 times 3 times 5 is 12 times 5, which is 60. So 256 minus 60 is 194. I think. No, that's not right. 196. I don't know where I got 4 from. All right, 256 minus 60, 196. So, all over 6. So the square root of 196, if you remember, or you use your calculator, is 14. Just to confirm that. 196 square root 14. And now we just do the work. So we've got negative 16 plus 14. That's negative 2 over 6. We'll reduce that in a second. And then negative 16 minus 14, that's negative 30 divided by 6, negative 5. So our answer here, negative 1/3 and negative 5. Those are your two solutions for x. So just to remember, you have to do both of these operations, plus and minus, to get the answer. You can't just do one or the other. And they do happen separately, so don't try to get confused and do them at the same time. Negative 16 plus 14 divided by 6, negative 16 minus 14 divided by 6. And if you have a fraction, just leave the fraction and simplify. Don't try to get a decimal or anything like that. Okay, so you've got 10 questions to work on your own. And as always, email if you have questions.